bring the January 19th BZA meeting open. We only have one case today, case number 856. And oh, thank you. And right now I would do the roll call.
All right, thank you. Mr. Martenzek?
Here.
Mr. Hemrick?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
Mr. Peed?
Yeah, here.
And Ms. Gottwald?
Here.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Now that we've got that officially done, thank you, Leo. The way it will process today is we'll have the staff read in the case for the request for the variance and any staff reporting. And then we will open the podium up to anybody speaking for the variance. There's a card up there what you have to read to get sworn in to the official document today. And once we hear the people for and the people against, if there is anybody, we'll close that portion of the hearing and then open it up to discussion within the board. At that time, we may question somebody from the podium. Please remember that if you were up here before, you would still be under oath. And once we discuss within the board, we'll open it up for a motion and a vote. With that, I'll open up with the staff for the staff report.
All right, thank you, board. I'll begin with just the reading of the public hearing notice very quickly. The purpose of this hearing is so that the Board of Zoning Appeals may review and act on a variance request, case number 856, made by property owner Matthew Trentle. The nature of the request is to seek a variance from the requirement that the combined allowable maximum size of all accessory structures on a lot shall not exceed 50% of the footprint of the principal structure on that parcel. The applicant is seeking a variance from the requirements of Article 18.055. The applicant desires to erect an accessory structure that would cause the lot to exceed those allowable size limits. The property is located at 258 South Alpha Bellbrook Road in unincorporated area of Beavercreek Township. It's zoned A1 agricultural, and the parcel ID is B03 000 100 I have also prepared a brief staff report for you. So the applicant in this case, Matthew Trentle, again seeking to build a carport style structure which would bring the total area of accessory structures on the lot above the limit allowed in the zoning resolution. I read you that parcel number already and the address. The footprint of the residential structure on the lot is about 1,300 square feet. The existing garage structure is about 900 square feet, and the proposed carport structure would measure 441 square feet. So normally staff would be against allowing an accessory structure, the area of accessory structures to exceed the total footprint of the principal structure on the lot. There are some unique conditions though on this lot that has allowed staff to consider the merits of this, and it was a tough one. But I'll go over some of these kind of contextual merits here. So first, the proposed structure being a carport is kind of less permanent than a full garage. It's some poles with a metal sheet roof on top of it essentially. It's much more easily removable than a full garage. I think there's something to be said about that. In case of maintenance issues, it needs to be moved or removed or something like that. It can be relatively easily. Additionally, the structure won't cause an increase to impervious surface on the lots. It's built over an existing asphalt pad, so adding this on top of it will not reduce the permeable surfaces on the lot. So that's something that we're normally very concerned about. It's not an issue here because it's already paved over. So on the other hand, right, it's a pretty generally accepted zoning principle that accessory structures are subordinate to the primary use on the lot. They by rights must be accessory to the main use. And in this case, it's gonna mean that accessory structures, their total area is gonna actually be, slightly larger, slightly more than the total square footage of the primary lot. So there's that to consider. In this case, though, it's two separate structures. So the combined accessory structure area exceeds the footprint, but no individual accessory structure exceeds the footprint limit. However, the existing accessory structure would exceed the zoning resolution limitations as it stands now. So those are just all things that, you know, are pertinent and we don't want to consider. I'm really asking for your deliberation on this one. You know, a lot of the times I'll come with a pretty strong recommendation one way or the other. This one, staff does, we tentatively recommend approval. We think that because it's not going to increase impervious surface coverage, that staff's kind of one of our greatest concerns of, you know, environmental issues caused by the building of too much structure, that is not, we're not in danger of that here. We also think that having the two separate buildings combine to exceed the square footage is less egregious than one single structure, which is over the square footage limitation. But we are ultimately looking for the board to discuss kind of what we brought up, their merits, and make a decision. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have at this time. Again, I appreciate your understanding that this is a tough one. Our office generally, when we can, we try to look for ways to do something unless there's something really in the way. And a lot of what we would normally say are those issues, again, the impervious surface coverage and subordinate structures, we think there's enough here that it's at least possible to grant it. So, thank you.
Any questions of staff?
One question I had. At one time, this property was a problem with a landscape company using it. Is it the same owner currently as it was then?
It's my understanding that yes, it is.
It's the same owner.
However, it's also between conversations between me and staff, that issue was resolved rather amicably, where
Okay.
those, you know, it was said, hey, you cannot do this, and the,
Okay.
you know, person immediately
Okay.
made arrangements to move that, you know,
Okay.
those
I wanna
equipment and
make sure
things
that-
elsewhere, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it is the same person. We
Okay.
asked if that was the proposed use. It's not. It's to store
Okay.
watercraft and some other things that don't quite fit in the garage.
Okay.
So,
One other comment, the accessory building that is there now, they did get a variance on that when they built it. It came before the board, and I know, I think it's 900 square feet, the house is 1,300, it was more than 50% of the footprint. And I think at the time, we said the house was too small.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I
And
mean,
so it's kind of an undersized house, and
the
that's
lot,
why sometimes that just doesn't hold weight.
I think that's
So-
a completely valid point. The lot, if you look at it, it looks like it was split off from a larger lot, with this house still existing on it and then another piece split off of it. The house actually is very close to the side setback. It's violating side setback requirements. That's a non-conforming, legally non-conforming, it's not an issue here, but that gives you an idea that, you know, this parcel, the house is kind of crammed in on this parcel, maybe a little bit artificially based on that split, I guess is
Okay.
staff's interpretation of what
Okay.
happened there, so.
No more questions? Okay. Anybody willing to speak for the request, please step up to the podium.
Oh, is that me? Do I just kind of explain what I'm trying to do?
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Sorry, first
No
time.
worries, no worries. Just come up here, there's a little oath they'll have you read real quick, and then go ahead and say your piece.
Thanks for coming. Leo, thanks for coming. Is that on? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay. Thanks for coming. Feels kind of weird that I'm the only one here and all these people are here.
You
But-
you have to read the thing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I, Matt Turnell, solemnly swear that the statements I'm about to make before the Beavercreek Township Board of Zoning Appeals are the truth, the best of my knowledge, and
Thanks.
alright, sorry.
No worries.
So, you're right, this is kind of a unique property. Everything is the way the house is now and the whole property. This is how it was when I moved in, 2007. Garage, my house, the whole property is completely fenced in, even across my driveway, so it's very, very private. Where I propose to do the carport is all, you can kind of see from, maybe like this top picture here, I don't know. But that, it's all kind of trees, woods, kind of in that corner. The asphalt pad that has been there since I moved in, it's probably about a 40 long by 25, like I said, it's been there. Now, it's kind of a weird spot because it's asphalt pad, and really it's kind of a weird, it's kind of weird. It's like nothing I can really do with it except, you know, I could park stuff there, but my whole life's, it's kind of weird. You know what I mean? I got a lot of gravel, stuff like that, and all my neighbors have very, very large properties, and it is very kind of, the whole corner is kind of wooded in. I did,
So
you know,
just
I want to
give
do
you an
the,
idea, this is his property, there's surrounding properties.
like all of them are really huge. So the property where the clicker is now, Miss McGee, you know, I'm trying to do the steps right. I called her, is this gonna bother you? She's like, no, it's fine. I can't, all those trees now are so big. She goes, first of all, I can't even see it. And second of all, she's like, it's a carport, you know, I can put it up, take it down, not that long. Property behind it, Owens, I talked to him also, he's like, Matt, I can't see it, it's not, you know, so I'm trying to do the right steps. Kurt to the right of me, he probably couldn't even see it actually at his angle, but he's totally fine with it too. So I'm trying to do the right steps. Now, what I'm trying to do with it, obviously I don't have a garage on my house. The garage in the back is the only garage I have. Now I couldn't really put a garage in my house. It's like a wedge to get down my driveway. So I have, you know, I keep my boats in Tennessee, but I have trailers, and I pay storage, stuff like that. And it's like I have this property, and that'd be a perfect spot for me to keep it. It's out of the way, no one really can see it. Instead, even my across the driveway's fenced in. I mean, you literally cannot, unless you were trying, you can't really see in that back corner where I propose to do this. It's a good spot for it. I did 2 years ago, I went to zoning and Beavercreek Township, the Green County, whatever. I was going to build a lean-to off the right side of my garage. They approved it. It was like a 30 by 8. It was I forget his last name. His name was Ed, and then Lori Brown. I went to kind of go through them with that. It was approved right before the pandemic. At that time, I was kind of told, being agricultural, I could build a bigger structure on my property being zoned agricultural. So I decided really to kind of go against doing that little carport, and I wanted on the right side. I never did it. The pandemic hit. I was like anyone else. I didn't really feel comfortable like spending money, doing all this kind of stuff. So I kind of held off on it. But it's still been a very important thing to me. It's always been on my mind to do something on that, actually the left side also, because time I was, like I said, I was kind of told that I was able to do anything I wanted as long as it was off the 10-foot radius. So again, I'm trying to do everything right, and I respect everything that's going on now. And so I'm just kind of just giving a roundabout what I'm trying to kind of accomplish now. I decided instead of doing a structure, I want to just do a carport. It's something I can, as you can see, attached. It's a Menards product. I can put it up pretty quickly. If I need to take it down quickly, I can do it also. Again, it's a reason I want it as big as I am, because the trailer I have is kind of long in that spot. I don't really store the boats on it. Like I said, they're down in Tennessee, but I do have that spot where I would like to park the trailers, and I like to put it under a cover so it's out of the sun, out of the weather. Like Max was saying, concrete pad, asphalt pad's there, so it's not increasing any maybe like water runoff, so to say, 'cause it's kind of already there. It's gonna be set jet back just a little bit past where the garage is now, just a couple feet. And then, like I said, trying to do the steps right, and make sure my neighbors didn't have any issues with it. And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I mean, like I said, main objective is just to put boat trailers, and if there's bad weather or something, I could, or hail or something, I could, you know, park one of my trucks there, you know, the truck I drive. So that's kind of about it. I got, you know, does anybody else? I got, you know, cars in the garage and the normal garage stuff. So it's just, like I said, it's kind of a unique property where I was hoping I could, you know, do something like this. Anyways, I don't know if I don't want to ramble, but
That's
I have a question while you're
Sure.
there.
sure,
Unless it's an optical illusion,
yes.
doesn't the asphalt stop about midways of that building you wanna put up? Isn't the rest gravel? Is that a seam right there going, right there?
It's just it's just like kind of,
Because
it's
that-
just a picture, it's, you know, it's all asphalt.
That, left post of your lean-to, the surface appears to look the same as your gravel driveway.
I'm assuring you it's not. I have actually some better pictures for you.
What did you do?
GIS. He's gonna show you an arrow.
Oh.
Yeah, this might give you a better,
Yeah, you can zoom right in.
Well, I thought I had a clearer picture. I tried to take a picture.
You see what I'm saying? That
Yeah,
It-
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but over
I wish I
there,
would have had a
you
better
can see
picture.
the
I assure you, it's all asphalt there.
yeah, this
the
is,
entire width is asphalt from the building over to the
The
fence or
whole-
close to it?
yeah.
It's up to
Okay.
the fence. It's actually even a little past the fence.
All that's asphalt?
It's like 40 by
Oh, okay,
25.
I was
It's
thinking
all
that the
asphalt.
majority of that was gravel.
No,
Okay,
that
okay.
that's all, yes. Where the quicker is, that's gravel, but
Oh,
all to the
good.
left of the
Barn.
is, that's all asphalt.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's like, the barn's 30 by 30, the asphalt's like 40
Okay.
by 25.
And then
26.
back to something you said a minute ago.
Yeah.
Why are you getting away from the lean-to type building that would probably cost the same or a little less than this?
Well, a couple reasons. The lean-to on the side, there's not that much room on that side, and I could only do it, the variance that I could only do was like 8.5 feet. You can't, I don't know if you've ever tried, you can't park a car under that, or any, like, my boat
You mean to
trailer.
stay off the property line?
What's that?
Just stay 10 feet off the property line?
If we're looking at the view right now to the left, that's the side of,
Oh, no.
originally I was
not
gonna
that side.
do, originally I
No,
was
no,
gonna
no,
do.
not over there. I'm talking about.
Where you're gonna put
where
the
you want-
carport.
I'm trying to figure out why you wanna do a metal temporary type structure versus you alluded to a lean-to that you got approved. Why don't you wanna do the lean-to that was
On the other side?
on the
No,
left?
no. Where you put the
Take-
carport.
Take your lean-to and put it on the side that we're talking about, you putting your temporary structure, which I just hate to get into the temporary structure business.
Well, I'll tell you why.
I mean, there's just no reason that this has to be something that can be taken down quickly.
Well, I'll explain why. The reason I wanted to do what I'm doing, if I did like a lean-to, obviously it's gonna have an angle down to
Right.
it.
Yeah.
My boats, if I brought, I don't have them here, but if I bring them down home temporary to work on them, my ski boat's got a cage on it, and it's tall, it doesn't even fit in my
Oh,
garage.
you wouldn't have enough height.
It has
is
a
what
hit
he's
in my,
saying.
I have a 30-foot sea ray.
I see what you mean.
That I keep them down, but if I just brought it home I'm saying, if I tried to put it, I can't, you know,
The height
put
of the
something
other barn,
temporary.
the
I
walls
said it's,
are-
Okay, so you might park your boat under there too, not just the trailer. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's why you want the height.
I could, yes,
Okay.
temporary, like I said, I keep everything in Tennessee, and I have a place in Tennessee.
I understand.
So I'm not, if I bring it home, it's more of like, I'm working on something, waxing, it's, you know, kind of a thing.
You had
But-
stated that you strictly wanted us to put your trailer under, and so I thought, well, maybe The reason for my question was, well, maybe he didn't need that much height, or maybe he could come off the barn at 10 feet here and have a 1 foot slope and be 9 feet on the other side, and that would more than give you enough room for just a trailer. But if you're wanting to bring your, boat home, then
Yeah.
it probably wouldn't fit under a 10-foot roof
Yeah.
on a trailer. So that's the only reason why I brought that up.
No, it's,
That's-
originally I was thinking about doing building a bigger structure, but again, this is all respect to Max, but when I was, 2 years ago, I was told that I could build whatever I wanted on my property. I know, I'm not, I'm just saying, that's what I'm not lying.
Yeah, I know.
I was told that I could, since I was zoned agricultural,
Yeah.
right, I get that, and I said, that's why I'm here.
Actually, the building you have there is not an agricultural building, it's an accessory building.
Oh, I'm not
Yeah,
disagreeing,
that's
no,
what it
I'm
is.
just doing what I was just saying what
Yeah.
I was told.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have that on, like,
Yeah.
writing,
Yeah.
but, anyways, so, I thought if I, and here's another thing. Reason I wanted to do a kind of a carport idea, first of all, if I would, sell my, it's really honestly for my boat trailers, I can fit my cars in the garage and stuff like that. keep
So
out
you're
the-
saying you're going with this style so that in case you sell your property, you can take it with you?
I mean, it's a thought, I'm not saying I would,
Right.
but, yeah, it's a
yes.
thought I could.
Yeah. being
It can be
temporary.
removed quickly.
Right, but I'm just saying, I put it up, I can use it, for some reason, I don't want it there anymore.
You can take it
Right.
down.
I take it- No,
People don't tend to take things back down after they put them up. My other question would be this: why not a pole barn type building, pole barn type roof, just with no sides on it? Why do you want? Why do you
Well,
want
I-
to go with
I-
all metal structure that's temporary?
well,
I'm just
the-
asking.
right, the main thing is just keep the things out of the sun.
No. Why do you want the metal versus doing like a treated post
I mean,
building? Just
What
take
first?
that, make it in treated post and a metal roof like your barn is now, versus it looking temporary. Is there
if I'm allowed to do that, I guess I could consider that. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's just an idea that I came up with just doing, you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah, I don't know, in thinking out of the box here, I don't
Yeah.
know that it being temporary, are you viewing this as a temporary structure and that's why you would vote to approve it? Or if it was
No.
more of a permanent structure,
I don't see it
You
as
still have it here
temporary.
for a vote.
I mean, it's a permanent structure
okay,
that can be easily removed.
right.
Much
So-
more easily than, say, a garage.
So he basically could get an approval for
A lean-to.
a pole barn, a carport made out of treated posts and a metal roof like his barn is,
It's
if he
a
wanted,
lean-to. Yeah.
right?
I think right now, this is the structure he's giving, but we're really voting on building whatever, as long as it fits with the requirement he's looking at.
No,
Well,
we're looking at a temporary structure versus something that would appear to be more permanent,
well,
is all.
if I put it up, I'm not planning on taking it down like tomorrow or anything. This is something that I plan on having,
I
as long
understand.
as I can.
But what I'm getting at is this. I want you to understand that you can build, if we vote to approve this, you can build this temporary looking structure, unless we decide that we'll only approve it if it's more of a permanent structure. Or you can build a more permanent structure in this same footprint. You
Well,
can do either one, right? I tend to frown on temporary structures. I
Well,
just,
The
It make
thing
me
with,
cringe.
I guess when I brought this to zoning, reason I picked this, 'cause at that time, I'll be honest with you, like I said, this is the honest truth, I felt like basically whatever I brought to zoning after a conversation 2 years ago, that I could basically do whatever I wanted on my property, as long as it was barn-wise, as long as it wasn't 10 feet, as long as I did the variance. So even with that information that I thought I had in my head. This is still what I was coming up with. I thought it was a cheaper route for me to, I was gonna do it, like I said, where it's at. I'm
Did
gonna
you
try to
build-
make it look nice.
Did you build the other building, or was that
No,
somebody
no,
before you?
everything, my whole property, everything you see there, that's exactly how it was when I moved in.
Okay, so it's the other
2007.
person that had built the other
Only thing
building.
I have done to my house is, on the right side, I put a fence down that side,
Okay.
and that was approved, you know, stuff like that. But I put a fence on that side, so the whole property, I say, is completely fenced. That's the only thing I've done. Everything else you see, the garage, everything was there when I moved
Okay,
in.
back to the temporary versus more permanent. Temporary structures, you get into needing to anchor them to the ground,
Yep.
so that, God forbid, they don't take off.
Yep.
A permanent structure you can anchor to the ground a lot better than a temporary structure. Temporary structure is a temporary structure, no matter how you look at it. We are here to give you a variance, unless I'm misunderstanding something, on a size variance, a square footage variance. So it could be a temporary structure, or it could be a more permanent structure.
That was exactly what my point, I didn't say it.
The only-
But
the only
that's
problem
what,
he
the
has
type
it-
of structures and what we're here for, the size of the structure is.
Right, other than,
He has a print here that is showing it separated though.
correct.
You know, that would kind of cause a conflict, is the only thing I was looking at, but, I
As
mean,
in?
I myself, I'd rather have the lean-to carport myself as a permanent solid structure, I'll give you that, but I don't know how we'd modify that with this print here, is, what's,
I mean, you can go higher up on the roof of your existing barn and come across and
And
get your height you need for your barn. I just,
well, I guess here's my point. My goal is to be able to put my trailer under there, and if my boat is home temporarily, that is my goal. Now, if I had, you know, building a more of a structure, I'm not against that by any means. I just felt that this might have been a cheaper, easier route, and it's still, I was gonna do it to try to make it look good, for my needs. And if for some reason I sell the boat or just like that, or I sell, you know, a place in Tennessee, or I keep my trailer somewhere else, or just whatever, that I can just take the structure down pretty easily, pretty quickly.
but you also might have a buyer that wants it.
I mean, like I said,
So-
I love my property. I love everything about my property. Like I said, biggest thing is like,
My discussion's more for the board.
like I said, it's like,
Okay,
I'm just so, like I said,
I
I'm
think,
not against doing something more, if it was more like looks wise.
I do think there are other carports in the township areas, so, I mean, I don't think it's an issue that way.
the temporary structure, or,
Well, similar to what he's talking about building, isn't there some around?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so-
mean, people have,
So, I mean, we have no,
the metal type carport?
well, yeah, I mean, and again, I wouldn't call it a temporary structure, but something that is.
that frame type.
Yeah, exactly, a frame with some sheet metal on the side of it, or not even anything
I
on
think
the
there
side
are
of it,
some,
just
I'd
something
have to
on
look,
top.
but I think I have seen some out, but, I mean, you don't see very many, they'd be
Well,
out
and they
somewhere.
probably haven't come before this board or anybody.
And that could be
put 'em
too.
up. They just put them up.
Or
And
they
like I
may
said,
not have had to, if they were.
That
in
was
their
originally
structure.
my thought in the last 2 years, was to build something, but, you know, more kind of what you're saying, I mean, but, I went with this route just for,
Okay.
ease, the cost kind of thing.
And you wanna stick with this route, is what you wanna say, is what you're saying, correct?
This is the route I would like to go, but just
Okay.
because it gives me a little extra height. Now, if I said I can go off the top, trust me,
What's
that would be very nice. I just, again, nowadays finding, with the pandemic still, finding the contractors, stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's a little concern of mine, a little bit, but, so, again, what I'm proposing, yes, to answer your question, is the carport, idea. But if that is allowing me not to do something for aesthetic reason, I would be more than happy to do a lean-to to still accomplish the same goal if it was more of an aesthetic.
We're not here concerned about aesthetic
Okay, I didn't know.
per
if it was
se.
like,
We can't turn you down based on the fact that we don't like the look of it.
okay, I just know it was. I didn't know if it was like a neighborly like. it didn't
No,
look
only if
bad.
someone's here complaining about it, then we would
Right, and
consider
I-
their complaints.
It's not very visible, I'll say that.
Yeah.
So.
Now, question, so, okay, I'm done with what I need to
No, I
ask for the
appreciate it.
moment.
Like I said, it's all great. It's all
Okay.
great questions.
Did you consider or research any other structure other than what you've got here? Is this the one that you researched and landed on?
Well, there's two things I researched. One, yes, as far as the structure-wise, as far as the carport I'm proposing, yes, as far as I said, there's a million companies that sell carports. I mean, it's, as soon as I punch in carport, I swear I was getting sales calls
Sure.
from all across
Oh,
the
yeah.
United States.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you try to do your homework a little bit on them. But basically, I was weighing behind a carport this or building what you guys are talking. So, like I said, originally that was my thought. Originally, what I was gonna do is do that thing on the right side, temporarily save some money, and then build a bigger structure to the left. And then, so I decided not to do that, and then just, doing what I'm proposing to do. But like I said, I know no one's complaining. I did talk to, I purposely took it in my hands to call my neighbors and see if it would bug any of them, because a lot of the stuff in here is,
Well, they all got
value.
notices too.
I'm sorry?
They all got notices.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
sure.
they did, and I talked to all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
three of them, really, the budding residents.
Yeah.
So anyways, so yes, this is the route I would like to go. Now, a question I would have, and it might be after the point, I guess, but if I did, I don't know if I should raise this question or what I'm about to say, but,
The worst we can say is no.
right, well, I'm just saying, if this was approved, granted, and I had it for years, I'm wondering if I decided to go to a different route of doing more of the more of a off the house, same footprint, not a carport, but actually,
I
if
think
that would be allowed later. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. If
you'd
that's
have,
fair.
I think after approving this, what's presented, I think you'd have to come back, I'll say.
And that's fine. I'm just.
No, because we're only improving the size.
Well, this is the question I was gonna ask staff. If we approve this, and even though it's submitted for a carport, if we approve it, we're approving the variance for size of the structure.
That's great.
And we're not determining what the structure is unless we actually put in there that the only structure he can put on there is a carport. Is that correct?
That's right.
If we do not do that in our then he could walk out here and put a pole barn in if he wanted to.
As long, so, and for us, you're right. If, as long as it met the footprint that we
Right.
allowed and was, proposed, there would have to be that 3-foot gap, could only be so high, could
Absolutely.
only be so wide. He could build it out of brick, he could build it out of whatever. We don't.
You're talking about a
concerns with that-
3-foot gap between the buildings?
Between the.
Well-
Well, there wouldn't be a 3-foot gap if he built it out like a normal carport per se.
Yeah, that's what.
If-
You would gain
if
that 3 feet
changes-
of room under your carport.
If
The
any,
only oh, sorry, go ahead.
if any of this changes.
Increases the square footage, actually.
It would. That would be something that
Well,
to
that's-
consider, and two,
That's splitting hairs.
well, I know, but also, a staff report did kind of speak to the fact that having one accessory structure that was in itself larger than the actual house would, I think in staff's mind, be taking that step past what is acceptable in terms of subordinacy of accessory structures and principal structures. That's staff's opinion. That doesn't
I know what the
necessarily.
layout of-
So that's why, in our mind, I think if this had come to us just as a complete, an addition to this, and it went all the way out, staff's report might have been different. It might have been different. I can't say for sure, right? I don't see it in front of me, but
I think it's very critical that the board understands what we're actually voting on
Yes.
and what restrictions that we have to put on there if we want to make sure that this is the structure that is going to be built versus something else. And to me, I think that's very important, because right now,
Go ahead.
because right now, the key part is building it within that footprint. And what that does to the overall footprint, I guess we're looking at it two different ways. One is the size of the structure itself, and then what that does to the size of the overall auxiliary footprint on the property.
But if he takes that footprint and puts it up against the existing building, the footprint stays the same.
Right.
You
So
gotta
the
count this
3-foot gap
structure
is-
as
the
part of the
3-foot
footprint, even though it's a
The
temporary.
3-foot
it's-
gap is not
it's part of the
not an issue then.
footprint.
Well,
Yeah.
no, exactly, and when I'm saying what we're looking at for the size, it's the size of the building. The location, you're absolutely right, I'm not concerned, it's the size of the building. And it doesn't make any difference if you take the 3 foot out or not, the size of that footprint is the same, and the overall size of the auxiliary buildings are the same.
Unless he comes off of off the garage and does
Yeah.
it that way, then he would be including that 3 foot if we didn't
Including
say,
the
okay,
3
you gotta move it.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
And the reason I did the 3 foot right there between them, couple reasons. One, so it's easier to work with,
Yeah.
securing it down. I can walk through it, and if there's any,
The risk of drainage.
like, stuff like that. Now,
Yeah.
as far as like I said, like, I know we have kind of two different conversations here, but this is what I would like to do now, but my point is I don't know if in the future, like I said, this is probably a whole nother conversation, and I don't expect an answer on this. But it's like, that's what I want to do now, but I don't know in the future if I had the same footprint, if I was able to go off the roof someday. You know what I mean? I know that'd probably be different.
As long as you move the east wall 3 feet closer to the building, and you didn't change the square footage you're being approved for, you'll be fine.
I think he's adding 400 and some square feet.
As long as you didn't go
441, I
over
think it
400 square
was.
feet.
I did 400 something, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So the total will end up something like 1,300 something,
A little over 1,300,
A
yeah.
little bit
1,300.
bigger than the
which is almost the same size as the structure of the house, which
Yeah.
it's kind of a smaller house. I mean, that's,
but
Totally agree.
yeah.
The house is small for the lot.
But I don't see that that's intrusive, I mean.
I don't think that's.
It's weird too, like my house, like Max was saying, it's weird because like, a house is so close to the road, and like that garage is
I
like
know.
way back,
Yeah.
you're gonna have like
It
that
doesn't
whole
have,
like,
the house doesn't have a garage, so
I don't have
the
a
footprint's smaller on the house
I can't even
because of
put a
that
garage, I
too.
don't think, for the left.
That's an
one.
interesting way to look at it.
It
I
is.
suppose if you wanted to view this structure, in some ways as part of the principal structure, just detached from it, I think it's stretching a little bit, but I also see the logic behind it
Yeah,
as well.
the footprint.
If you were to view it that way, obviously this becomes way less egregious, and it's the only accessory structure.
It's gotta be one of the smallest, narrowest lots I've
Well,
ever
if
seen.
you look at that view, it's just weird, I said, all my neighbors are like, have, Kirk to my right,
Oh,
his
yeah.
property's not huge, but like behind Owens and McGee's next to it, it's like, and even across the street, everyone has monster.
Well, that probably was left over. They
Yeah,
probably
that-
pinched that off when they put the development into the east of you.
Well, I think that was there prior.
It was,
Yeah,
what I'm
that's-
saying.
I think my house was built in, I think 50.
They drew that property line in
Yeah.
closer to your house when they
Yeah.
wanted to do the plat,
Yeah.
just to the east of you.
And maybe,
And,
Because they're a lot newer.
No,
That's
trust me,
maybe an apartment.
my girlfriend sort of say Wi-Fi yes in a way.
They should've-
She
they should've
would
gave
love
that
the
lot
garage
a
attached to the
little
house.
footage,
'Cause
100.
That's a long walk all
50
the
feet,
time.
75
but
feet would've been nicer.
What is the size of your lot?
I think it's about 3/4 of an acre. It's not an acre. I mean,
It's,
my property
it's
is
a half an
completely.
acre.
It's more deep
Oh,
than
it's
it
a
is
half acre?
wide.
Yeah.
Is that
My
all?
whole property is like completely like utilized in this, you know what I mean? It's like,
20,000, yeah.
I personally don't have an issue if the outbuilding's bigger than the house. I mean,
Yeah.
it's weird, like I was saying, like across the street, everyone around me is like, I'm like, I don't like the ugly duck, like all like, not necessarily my house, but like everyone's got huge lots and I got this like, tiny little,
That's
but
okay.
anyway, I'm trying to be
Nothing
like,
wrong with that.
what's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
No, it's
You're
not. I
fine.
mean, I love my,
Yeah.
I love where my location is. It's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm close to
Yeah.
everything, but I'm also not next to everyone.
Yeah.
My,
Yeah.
my property being completely fenced in, it's like.
Nice
across my-
neighborhood. You're in a nice neighborhood.
Well, it's like my whole property's fenced in across the driveway, and it's so private when I'm back. I can't see anything, and often the trees are leafed out. Like I literally
Yeah.
can't see anything.
Okay.
But so I,
All righty, well, thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
okay.
Thanks, man.
Well, I appreciate it. Like I said, it feels weird me, you guys all coming here just for me, so I appreciate it.
We do it once a month. If not you, someone
Did
else
we-
usually.
Did we have anything, any written or call on this?
No communication about this case of any kind.
Okay, so with that, then I'll close the open the discussion between the board. Any,
My point in this discussion about temporary structure was, I saw that there was possibly some confusion, that he thought this was the only thing that he might get approved for was a temporary structure versus him coming in here and wanting a more permanent structure and getting turned down. So I wanted to make sure that he knows that he could get approved for a more permanent structure, that we're approving the size of the building more so than we have no say-so in what it looks like.
yeah, that's
We
correct.
can't tell you how to build it.
And I think that's important, as long as it's what is submitted for the footprint, and that's what we're approving.
Now, if you leave here and you decide that you want to go a different style, just make sure that whatever you build is not have more of a footprint than what's approved.
Right, so it would be almost like that 3 foot, I would have to, the outside, I would have to bring in 3 feet, so it would be
Correct.
the same. And
Yeah.
I said the reason I have that weird 3 foot thing is just because,
Well, you know, yeah.
Access to the
Understand.
existing building.
Place for the water to go.
and they construct it and fasten it down correctly and
Yeah.
all
Do
that.
do you know if he has to get a building permit for this? Because they're gonna wanna make sure it's anchored
Yeah,
down
if it's
correctly.
it's over the size limit, 200 square feet, so yeah, he'll need to go to building regs as well. Yep.
Okay, 'cause they're gonna need you have to get a building permit once you get your zoning permit. Because you wanna make sure it's anchored correctly and anchored down good for so that it doesn't end up in your neighbor's yard.
Right, well, and again, kind of what I'm getting from what you were saying is, this is still my plan, but if, like you said, it's more about the square footage. If I wanted to do a different, like, come
Style
off
or
of it,
type of.
so it's more of a cleaner, not saying cleaner,
Let me just
But-
offer a quick clarification. I think that'll clear this point up. Let's say you approve it and you don't specify that it must be constructed a certain way, like
Correct.
then he builds it the way he's proposing now. 2 years down the road, he might redo it. He might brick up the sides and make it look nicer. So that would be like a renovation to an existing structure. That'd be like someone repainting their shed. He wouldn't even need a permit from us to go ahead and make those kind of upgrades, so long as he didn't change the footprint of the building.
Correct.
The footprint,
Yeah.
Well-
all we approved.
so it's
He
basically
could,
the
he could also
footprint
take, the building completely down, the temporary structure,
And put a pole
and
barn.
put up let's call it a pole
Lean-to.
barn. Lean-to, pole barn.
I call it a lean-to.
As long as it's not over 441 square feet, or whatever we approve,
Yeah,
the footprints, actually, the aerial footprint's gonna actually be different. and
it's
then
like if
gonna show it
someone
against
tears
the
down their
building.
fence and
That's all.
puts up a new fence, so long as it's within the same
Yeah.
place
Right.
that the original fence was, we don't
Right.
require a permit or
The
anything.
only way, as I understand, and I think you reinforced it, that we could restrict him is in the motion itself.
Correct.
If we put in a motion that we're approving a carport only, then whatever he would build has to fall in the definition of what a carport.
Temporary carport.
Well,
Yeah, and if you wanted to put those restrictions, I would suggest maybe shopping the language to make sure it was, you know, exactly what you were thinking. It sounds to me, I could be wrong, like the prevailing thoughts on the board right now are that the structure could be this, or it could be a more, you know, traditional looking garage type structure as well. But I could be wrong about that, so.
We could have something that says allowing a construction of 441 square feet on the east side of the existing structure. Would that clear it up?
Well, that's as submitted. We approve it as submitted with
Yeah,
whatever changes.
I would say if you approved it as submitted, it would have that same effect of
Absolutely.
saying
Okay.
they can build 441 additional square feet of accessory structures.
They-
They still have
on
to
the-
put in the application for
on the
us,
east.
so it would have to meet any other zoning requirements. But it would then, we would overlook that it's bigger than the required limit because the BZA case says it can't be.
But
That's-
don't we get into two separate accessory structure issue here?
No, that was a misconception from our previous staff. Nowhere in the code does it prohibit you from having
I know.
multiple accessory structures.
We used to believe that.
Okay,
Because
okay.
we have made them tear down
We're just talking about, yeah, okay.
a shed because.
Nowhere
of
in the
what they're-
code does it even suggest that you can't have
We
more
did
than
make
one.
them do it in
Yeah,
the past. I'll say that.
Okay.
We didn't like the old shed that was there.
Yeah, we made some conditions that they had to take
We did.
the
Well, you
existing
can do
shed down, and they
conditions.
were completed within so many days.
You can do conditions.
You know,
Right.
with my staff, I said, okay, you have this belief. I was like, show me where in the code you're getting this from, because I reviewed the code pretty heavily
Yeah.
when I got here, and they couldn't point to. They said, I know it's in there somewhere, and I was like, it's not. We need
Yeah.
to come to an understanding that it's not in
Okay,
there. So.
okay.
All right, so, can I go up there and talk, or can I talk sitting here?
Well, so they'll ask you if you have any
Oh,
questions.
okay.
Yeah. At this point, it's for the board to discuss.
Any other questions or statements? Okay, with that, do I have a motion?
Okay. I make a motion, we approve case number 856 as presented.
Do I hear a second?
I second it.
Do I have any questions on the motion?
Discussion on the motion.
Just so we know that it's clear that if he someday takes this down, he can move the structure over or back or whatever he needs to do, as long as he doesn't change the footprint.
That's correct.
He would need to submit a revised zoning permit, but he would not need a new variance.
Okay.
Okay, because he's not encroaching on the rear or side yard setback.
Right.
He's plenty far enough from that. And if he made it more permanent, someday he's actually getting farther away from the property line.
Yeah, 'cause
It's okay.
We got a motion and a second?
Second, do we have a vote, please?
All right, if we're ready for the vote, Mr. Martinsek?
Yes.
Mr. Hemrick?
Yes?
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Pease?
Yes.
Ms. Gotwald?
Yes.
Thank you, board, I appreciate it. So what we're gonna do real quickly, I'm gonna give you like it's basically a temporary, proof that this is how it happened. I'll write up a resolution by the end of the week, we'll get it, signed by the chair, and then it's official. So there's no more steps, you're good to go ahead and, you already submitted your application to me? If I remember correctly, I think I've got it in here.
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
It's how,
Come
so
back.
I'll get in touch with you on that and make sure that what's on the application matches everything here, and then we'll go ahead and get you that permit as well.
Just more.
So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay.
What
So,
was the 73rd Brigade
so
here?
basically, this is still my
My
plan.
dad, he retired
But
on
it's
it.
basically just like, as
I was
long
born in
as I know,
Germany.
if I decide to change.
We lived
it, I
all
get
over
rezoned.
Germany, Texas, back
Right,
in Germany
just
before
off
now.
work, I can't go.
Really strange.
Right, so whatever you submit for your permit, so let's say you
Yeah.
submitted this, and if you decide to change it, you'll need to submit a new permit. Just to show where it's gonna be, all that good stuff. As long as it's within this parameter, then yes, I'll accept
Went
it.
in
Right,
the
and it's,
Army.
and obviously the roof height couldn't be
Got
higher
the
than that.
commission and got sent.
It cannot.
Right, and it would be anyway, but,
Yeah, I just
Um,
couldn't seem to get away.
because the height of it, I asked for is, would be enough for
Retired as
what
a
I need, if I,
captain.
you know, if I.
My dad was the chief.
And if you ever, so the height limit for structures is 22 feet now. So if you decided, hey, it needs to be taller, as long as it's not wider and whatever, I can approve it up to, 22 feet height.
Right, my one currently I think is 16. So you're saying if the next one could be taller than that, it just could be 22.
Yeah, up to 22 feet is the limit for accessory structures, right?
But the footprint is the bottom, it can't exceed 4 feet.
Right. Receipt on.
What do they do with machines? They write on machine, they dump it out on the ground and machine level.
All right. Go ahead and come over here and sign this one for me on the applicant line.
Did you?
Have you ever heard of Lakeland? Yeah. We're close to Lakeland. It's actually called Polk City, but it's real close to Lakeland. That's the closest big town. It's real nice. It's gated community, guard 24 hours, 55 and older. And they got about, probably 400 houses in this community.
Oh, okay.
Beavercreek only have
2
one
clubhouses, 2
case.
kind of lake. We got a pontoon boat there anytime you want to use it. It's just super nice, just all kinds of activities going on, just very, very
Okay,
nice.
that must be the one.
We're trying to figure out,
Is that gonna go down there by Penn
when we
Station?
finally decide to move, we're both retired, let's finally decide to move.
Sign this one for me,
Additional footing on it. It's gotta be 200 miles south of the last sign that says
Can't wait a minute.
Ridge Free before we're
Right.
All right, Matt, here you go. Like I said, I'll be reaching out by the end of the week with your formal resolution. We'll talk about your permanent stuff. Yeah, thank you.
Here's our little.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, I appreciate it.
The lake's
All right.
Oh, is that where you go down and rough it?
Yeah. That's where we're camping
Bless your
now.
heart.
You got a carport there, I see.
Yeah.
It's for a motorhome. That's what it's for, but I sold the motorhome. But most of them have motorhomes in them. almost
That looks
all.
like a more permanent structure.
It is. I'm hoping, unless a hurricane comes through.
Yeah, nothing permanent then.
Okay, do we
do have,
you want us to vote on the minutes, please?
yes, there are several sets of minutes I sent to you for your approval. You may vote for them all at once. You can say we approve all minutes presented. You can do them one at a time. If you have issues, let us
It can
know.
only be people that were at the meeting of those minutes.
Correct. You should recuse yourself from the vote if you did not attend that particular meeting.
So we better do them individually.
I think that's probably the way.
Oh,
to
you
do it.
have to.
Yeah.
If we
If,
weren't
if
all-
you all weren't there, yes.
I don't think I was there at some of them.
Do you?
Well, no, some people were laying on the beach in Florida.
I think the only one I was on is
Yeah.
why is that
Yeah.
one set of minutes so old?
2016?
So if you remember, Lori had
remember that
some
well.
health issues
Yeah.
around that time. It kept her from being able to complete her duties, and so one of the things we've been having her do is going back and finishing old sets of minutes so that we can, I mean, it's still
Yeah.
legal requirement for us.
Yeah.
So those will be,
One
more of
set of
those will
minutes.
be coming. She's worked her
It was
way
actually
through
for the lot
up to
split.
this year and then through
For the
last year,
bombers,
now
yeah.
she's working her way back through years, so.
Where we-
That's right.
where they had
It's
to
not
split
too
off
many
the
more sets
3/10 of an
actually
acre
of
for the
old minutes, but I think maybe 3 or 4
Because
of
you don't
them.
want to sell
So,
that.
I mean, you're gonna get to the point, it's possible people won't be here that'll, I don't know who all was at the 2016. Do you have the 2016?
We got 3 of you.
Do we? 2016? Yeah, probably so. You guys
Not me.
were.
Right here.
You did.
Huh?
Yeah, there was Leo.
Matt, you're welcome to stay.
Myself.
You
And
can
me.
also go if you
Three
like.
of
It's
us
up
are
to
here.
you.
Okay.
Good enough.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Everything with me is done.
Yes, you're all set. We're just got some
Yeah.
I did, I read it on the
administrative stuff
computer.
now.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Call Menards, get it ordered.
Menards.
Yeah, it's been on my mind, so I appreciate it.
All
I'm
right,
telling you,
thank
because there's a heck of a metal shortage right now.
Oh, I know.
So-
My company, we rent dumpsters and stuff like that too. And anytime we get metal and stuff, we pull all that stuff out and
Have you ever heard of a place called JR's down in Bainbridge? It's an Amish place,
we got a place line up on 42 and then on the First Street too.
but getting back to your carport, metal carport, they sell those. You might check out their price.
Okay.
There's a place down in Wilmington too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it,
Higgins,
the guy
I think it's
ran off-
Higgins or something like that.
Yeah,
No,
you're right.
JR's is
The
off
guy ran
41
off,
down south of Bainbridge.
he built from that place.
Yeah.
They've got a display of one, and that's the only reason why I know they sell them, so
Yeah.
might get a good price down there,
So,
or a better price, you never know. Good luck.
appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
All
Thanks
right.
again, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, I'll try to keep these in the order, chronological order. The first one is the meetings for June 15th, 2016. Leo was here, I was here, you were here.
Yes.
So we have
3 here.
3 to,
You said you three, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted for the
June 15th.
June 15th, 2016 meeting minutes.
Mr. Hemrick? Oh, I'm sorry, second.
I'll second it.
Mr. Hemrick?
Yes?
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Mr. Pete?
Yes.
Thank you. Hold on one second.
Okay, the next one is the November 17th, 2021. And there was,
I'm out of that.
you were here?
No, I wouldn't.
Me?
Chris-
Yeah.
Christie was
I-
here, I was here, Leah was here.
And tell me one more time, this is November,
November 17th,
Thank you.
2017.
2021.
2021, thank you, that's what I said.
so all are eligible except Mr. P to
Correct.
vote on this? Okay.
Correct.
Any motion?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as submitted.
I'll second it.
All right, Mr. Martinsek?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Hemrick? Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Ms. Gotwell?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the December 3rd, 2021, yeah, Christie, Leo, and myself. So we have, oh yeah, I keep on missing a check off on that. I read right over
Is
it.
You didn't
that,
check yourself off?
All right. I was recording that last vote, forgive me, December,
This-
17th, that one.
November
That
17th.
November
no,
7th.
this next one, sorry.
December the 3rd,
December
Solar power
3rd.
tower.
right.
September.
2021,
Okay,
okay.
that was the special one for the, okay. Do I hear a motion for acceptance?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented for the December 3rd, 2021 meeting.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
All right. Mr. Martinsek?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Hemrick? Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Ms. Gotwell?
Yes.
All right.
And then the next is the December 15th, 2021. Leo, looks like everybody except for
I'm missing some
Christie.
meetings.
I wasn't there for that one?
Except for Florida
No,
Roy.
no,
Okay.
you were not.
Okay.
You guys are having special meetings.
No,
when
this
I'm
was,
gone.
this was the regular meeting though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We had to
that was
have that while you were
Yeah, I was
gone.
scheduled
That's
for
why
it
we
when we
had
were
it.
gone.
Okay, do I hear a motion to
That's
accept
pretty important.
December 15th, 2021?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as submitted for December 15th, 2021.
Do I hear a second?
No,
Was she here?
I wasn't
No,
there.
she wasn't there.
Okay.
You gotta do it.
Were you Andy?
You
No,
gotta do it.
no.
Oh, I'll second that.
All right.
Your show is being here.
When was I? I see that.
Yeah, you were back.
Oh, was I?
Yeah, you had your sunburn and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That
Oh,
was
I remember
after
that
that
meeting.
special one.
I do
yeah.
remember that meeting. Yeah, I remember that.
It must have been a
one.
little sun touched.
Your
I was getting ready to leave.
sandals with the sand in them, remember that one?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Do I-
Okay.
Mr. Martinsek?
Yes.
Mr. Hemrick?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Mr. Pete?
Yes.
All right.
I do remember that meeting. Yeah.
Just
there
very
any-
quickly, I had election of officers listed. I think I'm gonna postpone that until we have our traditional chair, Brent, here. I will ask you if you'd like to go ahead with it, but I think that's probably the prudent move.
I was gonna make that recommendation anyway, that we wait.
When he's not here, you usually reelect him.
I have no issue with
Who
that.
gets reelected? Everybody?
Well, you're choosing your officers,
No.
so yeah, the chair.
Chair.
Oh. Oh, I should be voted on while he's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just tell him he's been reelected.
In case he, for some reason, has chosen this year to step down from that role, feel we should not vote him to that
Or
role.
we shouldn't give him the opportunity.
Yeah. Hey, don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm kind of for that too, but, you know, let's be nice, I guess, right?
Okay, in that case,
In that case, I have no more business for you.
okay. Anything from the board members? Do I hear a motion to,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
all in favor, or second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.